In this video, we'll be unboxing and taking a closer look at the brand new Godox AD600 Pro. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to us for more photo and video equipment reviews just like this. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hypop, or visit our website at www.hypop.com.au. But with all that being said, let's get into it. So I've got the brand new Godox AD600 Pro Flash Studio strobe, the portable Flash Studio strobe with me here today. As you can see here, let's give this a quick open and unboxing. Just opening up the box there, the first bits and pieces that we see are the Godox catalog that shows some of the key products from Godox. We've got the Godox warranty card and also the AD600 Pro instruction guide. Let's open up the box. Okay, so first thing we see is the battery pack for the AD600 Pro, the AC adapter, the AC cable, and the brand new Godox AD600 Pro flash tube, and the Godox flash itself. So I've got the Godox AD600 Pro set up here on a stand, as well as the original AD600. Let's run through some of the major differences between the two. Firstly, the physical changes. So as you can see here, they do look quite similar in terms of shape and size. The AD600 Pro is slightly heavier in terms of weight. However, some of the great changes that they've made to the new AD600 Pro is the upgrade of the materials on the actual stand mount here. So the stand mount's now made from a cast aluminium compared to the previous model that's made from a plastic. So all the components at the bottom here, including the umbrella mount and also the handle design, slightly changed. So the actual aluminium mount here is much sturdier when mounting onto a stand. And with the umbrella mount on the side here, it now is a screwless design. So on the previous model, there was a screw to tighten your umbrella modifiers. However, now there's a small friction clip. So in theory, if there were to be a substantial wind that will come through, if you're on location, the umbrella will just slip through rather than knocking over your entire light. So that's the small design change to the umbrella mount. And then on the side here, in terms of the actual handle design, the handle design previously used to hit the edge of the casing of the AD600, the original one. However, now the handle actually comes out a little bit further, so it's not actually touching the edge there. So that's good in terms of tightening and tilting your flash head. Now looking at the front of the actual strobe here, it's slightly different to the original model. So let's get this one open. So on the previous model here, in the original AD600, what you can see is the bulb is slightly recessed and the mount itself is recessed into the casing. So some people said that with the actual previous model, the lighting was inconsistent when using different modifiers, including reflector umbrellas and softboxes, whereas now on the AD600 Pro, that comes out slightly further, so it'll fill your entire modifier with the light. Now, a couple of other changes include the reflector and Bowen's cap design for the AD600 Pro. So with the Bowen's cap protector that's included, as you can see here, it's slightly different. So this functioned as a simple Bowen's cap protector on the original AD600, whereas now on the AD600 Pro, it doubles up as a reflector as well as a Bowen's cap protector. So on the inside there, it's a more streamlined reflector. So it's slightly different to your standard Bowen's 7-inch reflector that you can see there. And it's different for a reason. So firstly, when you're using the actual Bowen's 7-inch reflector on the original AD600, you'd need to typically match up the hole in the reflector to the umbrella mount of the flash. So that was a bit of an issue because you needed to make sure that hole lined up to the umbrella mount, whereas now it's a lot more streamlined. So you can see the reflector there is slightly narrower, and that allows you to mount an umbrella without the need of having to line up any holes with the reflector. So that's an added bonus. Another change on the Godox AD600 Pro is the bulb design. So the bulb design on the previous model is a spiral bulb design. So that was different to the traditional flash strobe tubes that you find on studio flash strobes. And with the new AD600 Pro, you've gone back to the traditional circular tube here. So it is slightly bigger in terms of the bulb size, so the glass protector there covering the flash tube. However, the new design improvements include a frosted cap on the top here, so that helps reduce hot spots. And it also helps fill the modifier a little bit better in terms of going back to the traditional circular design. So when you mount that on there, you can see that it is a much wider actual flash tube there. So apart from the physical changes, some of the other features included in the Godox AD600 Pro include the improved modeling lamp. So the modeling lamp is now much stronger at 38 watts, whereas previously it was only 10 watts. In effect, that makes it a more effective modeling lamp indoors and in studio. On top of that, the recycle time is vastly improved. So previously it was 0.01 seconds up to 2.5 seconds at full strength. Now it's 0.01 seconds up to 0.9 seconds at full strength. So more than double the actual speed in terms of recycle time. So that's a great improvement. And lastly is the improved color accuracy. So there is now a new color stable shooting mode on the AD600 Pro. And that means you have a range of plus or minus 75 Kelvin in terms of its color accuracy. So previous to that, you have your Pro photos and your bronze colors, which are higher end strobes, and people would typically go towards those strobes for the color consistency features, whereas now the AD600 Pro is competing with the likes of those strobes. So some strobe examples include the Pro Photo B1X, which ranges between plus or minus 150 Kelvin, and the bronze color Cirrus L, which is plus or minus 50K. So as you can see, the AD600 Pro is really competing with the likes of the higher end strobes. So lastly are the changes to the battery. So on the AD600 Pro, you can achieve at full power 360 full power shots, whereas on the previous original model, you can achieve 500 full power shots. And that's because of the changes to the battery, where the capacity is slightly less on the AD600 Pro in terms of the battery. However, the voltage is actually more, and that allows you to achieve a faster recycle time, and also it powers the stronger modeling lamp in the flash. So you do have a bit of a trade-off there. Now, some of the things that have remained the same between the two models include the guide number, which remains at 87, and the flash duration, which is 1/220 up to 1/10,100. And on color stable mode on the new AD600 Pro, that decreases slightly. So we'll put that up on the screen now on a table for you to see. The variability also remains the same. So the power variability between 1/256 strength up to 1/1 strength at full output, that remains the same. The modes that you can cycle through, including TTL, manual, and the multi-stroboscopic mode remains the same, as well as the high-speed sync, which is 1/8000th of a second. So running through some of the ports and buttons on the AD600 Pro, a lot of the top panel here hasn't changed much. So you've got the optical sensor here, which is that red strip there, and that's for use when you're turning off the X wireless system, and if you're wanting to fire it off with a master flash. And on the left side here, we've got a 3.5mm sync port, as well as a USB-C input. So that USB-C input's used for firmware updates when Godox release them online, and that 3.5mm sync port's used for other triggers. So you can still definitely use other triggers if you've got pocket wizards or something like that. You can use them in conjunction with the AD600 Pro. And on the right side here, we have a USB port. So this USB port's used for the Godox legacy triggers, including the FT16 and the XT16. And on the back of the battery here, we've got the charge port. So that's the charge port with the included charger that you can use. And also just an LED indicator button there. So that shows you your battery capacity and how much battery you have left. Now going to the bottom of the flash, the on-off button has relocated to the bottom of the flash here on the AD600 Pro. Previously on the original model, it was on the side control panel here. However, now it's located at the bottom and it's a nice big button. So that's useful for when you're actually using it on location and you have it propped up high on a stand. It's much easier to access now when turning on and off your flash. So quickly running through some of the buttons and menu here. Let's turn on the flash. First thing you'll notice is a larger LCD display here. So this LCD display is a higher resolution and it's much brighter from the previous model. You'll also notice the group symbol, which is much larger in terms of being able to identify the actual group at a distance if you're on location or in a studio. Now running through some of these buttons, we've got the test button, which has a simple function of being able to test the flash there. You've got the beep button. So the beep button here turns on or off the beep, which you can hear there, or you can simply turn that off for it not to beep when you're actually setting off the flash. You've also got the modeling light button. So the modeling light button has a few modes. So firstly off, it's got on, and then also proportional. So firstly, the off mode simply turns the modeling light off. The on mode has a percentage, so it's automatically set at 10% there. You can hold down on that button there to highlight the actual intensity of the modeling lamp, and you can increase that by 1% increments. What you'll notice is that the fan symbol turns on there as you increase the intensity of the modeling lamp. So the fan turns on, the cooling fan turns on just to cool the unit as the actual modeling lamp increases in brightness. And then once you've set your modeling lamp intensity, you can press the set button to lock that in. And then lastly, you've got proportional. So proportional means that the modeling lamp will increase in proportion to the actual output of the flash. So if you're changing, we'll put this onto manual. If you're changing the output of the flash, the modeling lamp will increase in intensity as you go up in intensity with the flash as well. So the next button here is high speed sync. So enabling high speed sync there, you see the high speed sync symbol shows on the LCD display. Skipping over the menu button first and going into the mode. Mode allows you to cycle through the different modes. So firstly TTL, you've got manual, and you've also got the multi-stroboscopic mode. So most people would be using the TTL or the manual. And then you've got your wireless channel button here. So you can see the wireless channel is currently on and set to channel 1. You can turn that off. So that when turning that off, that'll use your optical sensoring that's located at the top of the actual flash. Or you can actually leave that on, so that enables you to shoot with the X triggering system, including the X1 and the XPro. And then lastly is the group channel button. So the group button allows you, when just pressing down on a single press, allows you to cycle through the different groups from A through to E. And then when holding down the button is its second function, it highlights the channel. So the channel button, when holding it down, you can change the channel there. Cycling between channel 1 to 32 there. And pressing down and set, just to lock that in. Now let's run through the menu. So quickly on the menu, the first menu option that you see here is the color stable mode. So there's two options of off and on. So at default it's set to off. You can turn the color stable mode on if you choose to. Next is slave mode. So there's three options, off, S1 and S2. You can set to off or S1, slave 1 and slave 2. Modeling lamp. So modeling lamp has a continuous modeling lamp or an intermittent modeling lamp. So continuous modeling lamp means it's always on, even when the flash goes off. The modeling lamp remains constant and continuous, whereas on intermittent, that means that every time the flash goes off, the modeling light also turns off, and then once that recycles, the modeling lamp turns back on. Now standby mode. Standby mode is a power conserving feature. So right now it's set to 30 minutes. You can cycle through off 30, 60, 90 or 120 minutes. So that simply allows the flash to set whatever standby you're wanting for the actual camera to conserve power on your battery. And next is the light. So the light is actually the LCD backlit display. So currently it's set to 15 seconds. So if you don't touch any of the buttons during that 15 seconds, the LCD light display will turn off. However, you can set that to off permanently or on permanently as well. So the next option here is delay. So you can delay the flash and when it triggers at 0.01 second increments. So from 0.01 all the way up to 30 seconds. The next two options work together. So units and alt. It's not entirely clear as to how to use these settings just yet. However, the AD600 Pro does have a masking function inbuilt similar to the QT series. So I'll read from the manual as to what these two settings do. So firstly, you're supposed to use the units in combination with the alt setting. So units sets the total number of flashes. So you can see here mask or 3 alt or 4 alt. So that I imagine would actually set the total amount of flashes being 2, 3 or 4 flashes. And then alt sets the triggering times before the flash fires. So currently it's set to off. You can set it to trigger once or twice. So the triggering times before the flash fires, so you can set that to 1 or 2. So that's what those two modes do. Now on LCD, you can set the contrast of the LCD display. So you can set that between -3 all the way up to +3. At default, it's set to 0. Now ID, so this is a new function in terms of setting an ID from 1 to 99 for the wireless triggering of your Godox AD600 Pro. So you use this in conjunction with the X wireless triggering system. So setting the channeling group will allow you to communicate directly with the flash. But now if you do have other photographers or other wireless triggers around in the proximity of your gear, you can actually set the ID of the flash to match that of the trigger. So that helps with interference and making sure that you have a consistent connection there between the flash and the trigger. And then lastly is just a reset. So the reset has no and yes. So if you're wanting to reset all your settings back to factory default, you can do that by just selecting yes. So just like the original, the Godox AD600 Pro is compatible with all of the Godox X triggers, including the X1T, as well as the XPro. And that's compatible with most major brands, including Canon, Nikon, Sony, Fuji, and Olympus and Panasonic. So apart from that, in short, the AD600 Pro is a really great upgrade. However, the AD600 original definitely suits most photographers' needs. So if you're not needing the improved color stability with the color stable mode on the AD600 Pro, as well as an improved recycle time or a modeling lamp, the AD600 original definitely should suit most photographers. So that was a quick unboxing and overview of the brand new Godox AD600 Pro. If this video has helped you in any way, please give it a big thumbs up. Leave any questions down below in the comments section. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Hypop, or visit our website www.hypop.com.au. Thanks for watching.